Today I'm going to be breaking down the exact landing page that helped a B2B company increase ROAS by 45.47% in a very competitive industry. RevPilots is a B2B sales recruiting firm. They help companies hire various roles like SDRs, account executives, to VP of sales. As you may know, recruiting is an industry with a low barrier to entry, meaning a lot of people can start a recruiting agency without needing massive amounts of capital. This makes it extremely competitive. To make advertising even harder, it's hard to differentiate. The range of differentiators a recruiting agency can deliver for its clients is limited. You can either specialize in an industry, deliver talent faster, deliver better talent, or deliver talent cheaper. And every other recruiting company claims the same thing. So how did we increase RevPilot's ROAS in such a competitive industry by 45.47% with a single landing page? In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how. To design a high converting ad landing page, you just need to keep these three pillars in mind: value proposition, social proof, and objection handling. Those pillars are not based off of best practices that you can find online, but they're the things that we noticed deliver the highest conversion lifts when A/B tested for B2B companies. The value proposition pillar centers around communicating what outcomes your service or product delivers. If your value proposition doesn't land with your audience, that means you have a messaging gap. You have to keep in mind that there are multiple outcomes your product or service delivers. For example, in this case, a recruiting company can save hiring managers a lot of time. It can grant access to exclusive networks of talents that the hiring team doesn't have. It could also mean just really quickly filling a role that needs urgent help. So you really have to talk to your users, talk to your clients, look into sales calls, and A/B test what is the value proposition that resonates the most with your customers, and therefore ultimately converts the best. Additionally, for service-based businesses, it's actually very hard to differentiate from other service-based businesses because the benefit of your service will almost always be similar to theirs. For example, the value proposition of an ad agency will be very similar to the value proposition of another ad agency. That's why you need to communicate your unique mechanism. And the unique mechanism is basically a unique approach to delivering differentiated results. And that's how you differentiate as a B2B service-based business. The next pillar is social proof. Even if you have the most appealing value proposition in the world, people won't believe you until you show proof. Social proof is basically other people saying that your value proposition is true and your product or service is indeed good. If you don't have social proof, you'll have a credibility gap. Also, having one social proof is not enough. You need social proof throughout the page that aligns with your value proposition, meaning that if your value proposition is we hire the best talent, your social proof also needs to be other people saying they hire the best talent. And you need to place them in locations that have a high influence on conversions, which means places that have high visibility on your website and definitely not hidden away lower on the page or in some other obscure secondary page, as well as any place where you make a claim or introduce a differentiator. Finally, even if you have a strong value proposition and social proof backing up, people will still have skepticisms, especially in B2B where the risk of a purchasing decision is high. This is why you need objection handling. The third pillar, you need to proactively address these skepticisms as well as buyer criteria. Buyer criteria are things that the prospect needs to have answered in order to become a customer. Using RevPilots as an example, if a company is only trying to hire a fractional VP of sales and the landing page doesn't communicate that RevPilot does fractional placement, it's going to be very hard to convert that person. Okay, now let's look at the actual landing page that delivered a 45.47% ROAS increase using these three pillars. By the way, if you'd like us to take a look at your current landing page and see how you can improve your ROAS by more than 20%, go to groksweb.com and book a strategy call there. Now, starting at the hero section. The hero section is the most important part of your landing page, and that's because people decide if they're going to stay or if they're going to leave just based off of it. Your hero section just needs to do two things: state your value proposition and show social proof. RevPilot's value proposition was simple. They provide highly qualified sales talent for B2B companies in faster than average, which most recruiting companies take 30 to 45 days. So we put this directly in the headline. No need to get fancy. Hire vetted sales talent in 14 days. Then we put unique mechanisms right in the hero section. As you can see, 90-day replacement guarantees, first qualified candidates in 5 days, and the fact that they place industry-specific sales hires. We show social proof of the companies that they have worked with this logo bar, and we make sure to place it so it's visible above the fold on any device. So here at a glance, you can see the value proposition of RevPilots, their unique mechanism, and social proof. In the next section, we immediately led with more social proof that backs up the claim of the headline. I've seen a lot of B2B landing pages place social proof lower on the page. Now I know why that may feel like it makes sense, because you're showing the product or the service and the features first, then you're showing social proof, right? But here's the thing, more than 50% of visitors don't even scroll past the first two sections. And considering social proof significantly improves conversions, you want to get as much eyeballs on them and place them high up on the page. In the next section, we put one of the most powerful objection handling elements, a guarantee. Usually you want to place objection handling elements lower on the page for high intent visitors who scroll down all the way. But the great thing about a guarantee is that it almost acts as a unique mechanism as well. And it also almost acts like social proof, because you're basically saying that we're so confident that we guarantee results, which is why we place this high up on the page. Next, we have a section introducing the service features. We're communicating that RevPilots has proprietary benchmarks on sales salaries and they only get paid based off of placements. So now we're further differentiating RevPilot's value proposition as the page progresses. Remember how I said after every claim you make, you want to back it up with more social proof? That's why we have a testimonial section after. Next, we're continuously doubling down on the value proposition of RevPilot that show how they deliver fast and highly qualified talent to their clients. We're showing the timeline clients can expect visually. I hope you see a pattern here. It's not enough to state your value proposition once. You have to state it over and over and be consistent. When people are scanning information, there's a high chance when you state something just once that it'll be completely missed. Therefore, something as important as your core value proposition needs to be stated multiple times throughout the landing page. If we just say, hey, we deliver better talent faster than other companies, it's less believable than saying, hey, we deliver better talent faster because we do X, Y, and Z. And that's why in the next section, we show unique mechanisms. In RevPilot's case, they actually differentiate it by putting multiple senior recruiters on a single role compared to most recruiting companies that place a single junior recruiter to search for that role. And sometimes the differentiator is as simple as we work longer hours. This type of unique mechanism works because RevPilot is a service-based business. And finally, they're communicating the fact that because the recruiters in RevPilot are ex-sales leaders like VP of sales, they have access to exclusive sales talent networks. Okay, now we're getting lower on the page. And the fact that somebody scrolled down all this way means that they're higher intent and they're somewhat convinced by the value proposition and the social proof. So now they're going to start to have additional specific questions about the service. And that's why we're going to address buyer criteria and start handling objections lower on the page. One of the top buyer criteria for RevPilots is simply going to be, do they hire the specific role that I'm looking for? And that's why we literally place the list of roles that RevPilot hires. Then again, what should we put? More social proof. The bread and butter of any landing page. And believe it or not, despite clarifying unique mechanisms higher up on the page, people will still have questions on how RevPilots is different from other recruiting firms. That is just the nature of selling B2B service. That's why we put a comparison chart here. Again, emphasizing the guarantee, emphasizing that their availability is 24/7 compared to the other recruiting companies, as well as showing that their time to hire is significantly faster. The next section is a very, very important element to put on your landing page for those high intent visitors that scroll down all the way. The FAQs. We have a set of frequently asked questions consisting of the questions and objections that prospects ask the most in RevPilot's sales calls. And finally, you don't want to forget this one. Put a final CTA at the end of the landing page to capture all those high intent visitors who have scrolled to the bottom of the page. I can't state how often I've seen that landing pages end with a check out our blog section or just end with random content. Don't make this mistake. Just put a final CTA there so it provides a natural next step for high intent visitors who have scrolled down all the way. I hope this was helpful. A landing page is where you get your paid traffic, but your homepage is where you get all of your top of funnel traffic. Cold emails, SEO, content from social media. Even for paid ads, it's very likely someone will click on your ad and then search up your homepage later. So you need to make sure your homepage is dialed in just like your landing page. If you would also like to learn about how you can create a high converting B2B homepage, check out this video here.